The emptying out of language designed to create a just and relatively even playing field, or at least the aspiration of creating such an environment, is not new, right? And I'm not a scholar of every century, but certainly in the 20th and 21st century, starting mostly in the 60s, I think that many right wing people began, and conservatives in general, began to realize that they had to they had to take back over words like freedom.
Right.
When the civil rights movement was able, and the women's rights movement, right, and the anti-war movement, were able to create a generational zeitgeist, and a kind of paradigm that militarism, right, and capitalism and racism, that these things were intertwined, and that freedom from them was at the heart of a certain kind of future that wasn't exploiting and imperialist in many ways. That whole system was driven by words that held people together, right? Freedom and justice and love, and we shall overcome, the kind of ethics of care that drove Black church interpretations of Christianity. Um, that was like the target. Freedom became a libertarian term, right? And justice and equality are now being used against us. Affirmative action was supposed to be a positive thing,
Right.
and then it became diversity because it became a racist term. Then
Right.
we went from diversity to diversity and inclusion, and then we have diversity, inclusion, and equity, and then we
Equity.
got, oh, I mean, we got more letters on the back of that.
Right.
What is patriotism? White nationalism. We're
Right.
moving
Right.
they're moving closer and closer together, so that you and I cannot be patriotic, even though we are often desperately wanting this to be a democratic, peace, safe transition of power nation. I wanted to historicize that because we forget that they've always been taking the language and
Right.
trying to
Right.
make us run from it. So then the question is, what do we do? Do we keep saying do we say woke when their anti woke has so much more traction? Do we come up with something else? And that's a tough call. I think what we really want to focus on is what those words are symbolizing. Keep
Right.
going back to the definition of why
Right.
we think those words matter.